Oh, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is what dreams are made of. Nintendo, out of left field, and just like we talked about in prior videos, you cannot predict this company. Literally the week before their Nintendo Switch 2 Focus Direct, they announced a full-scale mainline Nintendo Direct presentation, obviously focused on Switch 1 software, ahead of the Switch 2 Direct to get all this stuff out of the way. So there's a lot to unpack. If you just want to know the times and when to expect it, it is going to be tomorrow morning, Pacific time, 7 a.m., Central time, where I am at, 9 a.m., and Eastern time, that is 10 a.m. You can see the exact tweet over from Nintendo of America, which reads, "Tune in tomorrow, March 27th at 7 a.m. for a live stream Nintendo Direct featuring around 30 minutes of upcoming games for Nintendo Switch. There will be no updates about Nintendo Switch 2 during this presentation." So there you have it. The out of left field card is absolutely played by Nintendo. Trust Nate the Hate if you don't already after the Switch 2 drop and all of his previous Direct leaks. Everybody who's commenters, you know who you are if you were just like absolutely throwing shade. But anyway, we're not going to dive into all of that because I actually want to focus on this. Now, in terms of what games are most likely to be at this presentation, that's where things get fun because we've actually had a number of different leaks and rumors floating around out there being discussed online over the course of time, some of which I want to dive into with you all today. So, first up on the list, and I don't think I'm just willing this into existence anymore, Metroid Prime 2 and 3 Remastered do need to be a thing, and I do think that there is a strong possibility that they make their appearance at this showcase as a Shadow Drop collection pack. I'm picturing a Pikmin 1 and 2 situation, if you will, where we get the confirmation that they're coming out the same day on the Nintendo Switch eShop, and there will be a physical edition sold a month or two later. Also very reminiscent of how they did Metroid Prime 1 Remastered. Now, you may remember from sources like Jeff Grubb and even Nate the Hate once upon a time chiming in on this, that these are expected to get maybe not the same level of visual treatment that Prime 1 Remastered got. Not saying that they won't look great, but they're going to be upscaled, a little bit more simple, true to original form with a higher resolution, and probably what I'm expecting to be just the enhanced controls carrying over from the Prime 1 Remastered set as well. I think that those will absolutely tie forward into Prime 2 and 3 Remastered, and these just have to come ahead of Prime 4. It's surprising they've taken as long as they have, and there are some rumors that Prime 4, according to Ecstasis, won't be at the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, which also leads me to believe that maybe if Kiwi Talks, who is the podcaster that was talking to retro devs that we've covered at length on the channel, his rumor was that Prime 4 would actually be getting the big unveiling at the Switch 2 Direct, and that we haven't really seen anything yet, and he's very hyped for that, and he believes that it will blow everything else out of the water. Well, if Ecstasis' post here holds any weight to it, and it's not going to be at the Switch 2 Direct, I think Prime 1 has to show up at the Nintendo Switch Direct that we are getting. So I do think that Metroid is here in a big way. It's definitely the franchise out of everything else on the list that I think is probably the most solid pick, although transitioning into the next heavily rumored game and from the same individual who leaked this Direct, or at least put out there that they were also hearing and really what I would consider to be confirming more or less because of their track record at this point in time. Nate the Hate said that Kirby Planet Robobot is coming to Nintendo Switch at some point in 2025. We don't have that announcement yet, so again, we have a perfect showcase for that to take place. Probably a quick turnaround time from the initial unveiling to the actual launch date. I don't think this game needs months and months of marketing. I'm thinking April, May, maybe not June, because I think that's going to be Switch 2 month and they probably wouldn't put it there, but sometime between now, April and May is when I would expect Kirby Planet Robobot. And this is going to be a fun one for me, a 3DS original that I never got a chance to play through, and the reviews on it and talk online, it seems like people love it. So I am a Kirby fan in general. I mean, I do enjoy the games. Forgotten Land was excellent, and lots of other ones. N64 era Kirby games were really enjoyable for me. So all things considered, I'm going to be looking forward to this one. I think it'll be a quick reveal and launch date in the same trailer, and I'm actually personally hoping this isn't where the 3DS to Nintendo Switch ports treatment from Nintendo ends, because I do think that there's a number of different quality 3DS titles that will hopefully make it over at some point in the future. Samus Returns being one of them that I would love to see make it over eventually, but that's not necessarily rumored, so we'll stick to the rumored games at this point. And we might remember also a few days ago on the channel we talked about Nash Weedle, who, you know, is definitely gotten some hard to predict things right. They're also not a perfect leaker by any stretch of the imagination, but they did suggest and straight up tease that a Fire Emblem 2 game is coming. At least their emojis were the fire emoji, the emblem emoji, and then the number 2 afterwards. Maybe this ties into the second Fire Emblem game, Fire Emblem Gaiden from the Famicom, or this could be that genealogy of the Holy War remake that's been rumored for quite some time. But one way or another, I think Fire Emblem's here, going to show up in some capacity, and this will also just be a first-party Nintendo Switch game that's simple and makes sense. F-Zero has been rumored for a return for a long time. In fact, Nintendo's been showing this franchise a lot of love lately, as through NSO and F-Zero 99 and the consistent updates, outside of F-Zero GX, we have every F-Zero game in the franchise playable on Nintendo Switch, even the Game Boy Advance counterparts, and one of them was never released in North America before NSO. So they're showing some love to F-Zero. We're missing GX. I think that you could test the waters for F-Zero's big return with a GX port or remaster, and we have seen some rumors over the course of time from PH Brazil and other sources stating that some GameCube remasters were still in the pipeline. Now, of course, I am expecting GameCube to show up as part of Nintendo Switch Online eventually, so maybe that's the way we get F-Zero GX playable, and it's actually something new F-Zero. But regardless of which route Nintendo goes here, I still think F-Zero is in this conversation to potentially be at this presentation. Star Fox is another long forgotten dormant IP at the time of filming, and while Samus Hunter definitely missed their dates with some of the leaks that they were putting out there before, they had a nice run of being dead on accurate in 2024, which made me pay attention to them once again just a little bit longer. But obviously with these last misses, it seemed like just dismiss them altogether. The only one saving grace could be that you could argue that this direct was once planned for February and things got moved back. But the reason that they tie into Star Fox is they were directly teasing that there would be an interesting change in direction from the last game, and they teased Zero in the title, which I believe to mean the last Star Fox game, which is Star Fox Zero, and that Zelda fans or classic 3D Zelda fans would be something of a fan of this style of game. I'm paraphrasing there a little bit, but essentially the long and short of it, it's going to be a different direction than what you'd expect from the follow-up to Star Fox Zero. And I do think that Star Fox having some kind of adventure 3D world type of game, like Star Fox Adventures, honestly, like Star Fox Adventures 2 with a modern coat of paint and just a brand new world to explore and go through, I'm really all for that. I think if Star Fox had some kind of game that it's still some space-based shooter elements to it, where you are traversing from different planets and maybe having those space moments, but when you land on a planet, you have a different dungeon, a different boss fight, various different puzzles to solve and uncover, and you're getting new items and equipment as you continue to traverse the game. Like, I think that there is that classical 3D Zelda formula. It could be a perfect fit for Star Fox. Maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't, but either way, Star Fox may be saved for Switch 2 and an original game there, or it could be one of those projects that does make it to Switch 1, and hence it's in this direct. Now, the last games that, you know, we've just talked about for far too long on this channel, and I honestly don't know that they're coming anymore. I think that there's still a chance. I'm not giving up all hope. Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, heavily rumored over the course of time, once believed to be a part of Zelda's 35th anniversary. That window came and went. Everybody's still wondering what in the world's going on with these games. We even got Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition, another what everybody considered to be maybe a forgotten port from the Wii U that Nintendo should absolutely bring over. And of course, we know that Nintendo did finally bring that over just at the end of the Switch's life cycle. Could Wind Waker and Twilight Princess still fit into this conversation somewhere? I personally believe yes. It's just a matter of when. And I am slightly worried about the fact of GameCube coming to NSO, that Nintendo might want to save these two games as just part of their subscription service and not give us their better playable counterparts that were ported to Wii U, but we'll have to wait and see. But I do think that there's a chance that these are good stopgap Zelda games while we're waiting for the bigger major 3D Zeldas to be developed. And I think that honestly, a Switch 1 Direct, and you give us like a summer, maybe an August or September type release for Wind Waker and or Twilight Princess, it would be a perfect slide-in game, in my opinion, to throw into this presentation. And it would be our 2025 Zelda title, because so far historically, Nintendo has stuck pretty close to doing one piece of Zelda software per year in the Nintendo Switch's life cycle, and the only year skipped being 2022, which was supposed to be the actual launch date of Tears of the Kingdom before we knew the name and all of that. Obviously that got delayed a year for polish, but every other year they had something Zelda once per year on the Nintendo Switch. And I do think that, you know, with all of the recent rumblings from some Russian retailers and then even a Korean translation of the official timeline for Wind Waker, that maybe, just maybe, there's a shot that these games could be here. Although I'm kind of expecting them to release individually at $60 a piece at this point, as opposed to a combo pack, since it's not tied to an anniversary or anything like that. But nonetheless, I do think that, yeah, one day we're going to get them. It's a question of when, and that could indeed be at this Direct once again. But there are clearly a number of other exciting possibilities. Silk Song has some rumors to it recently. Maybe that could be a big game that shows up at this presentation. You know, any other first party Nintendo IP, I feel like a lot of them will be saved for the Switch 2 Direct the following week. But let me know in the comments down below what if anything you're expecting from this presentation. I'm not necessarily expecting everything on the rumored list to be there, but maybe, you know, a healthy dose of a few of those do end up materializing, and some other ones we just have to wait and see on. What are you most excited for walking into this? And can you believe that Nintendo is just doing the most Nintendo thing ever and actually holding a Direct the week before the Switch 2 Direct? Because that blows my mind, but this is Nintendo we're talking about, so it kind of makes perfect sense here. So make sure you share all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below before you leave, regardless if we agree or disagree. Also, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell. And with that, I've been Sunbro, you've been Nation. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.